Welcome home, my love. This is Coming Home with Mama T. On this podcast, we explore the journey of coming home to ourselves, meaning really connecting to who we truly are, what we truly desire, and then, of course, manifesting these desires. So with that being said, today I want to take a dive into our perspective of our experience. I had a opportunity today where I learned a little bit about the concept of alchemy. Alchemizing, meaning the transformation from one thing to another. And in my mind, taking some energy, like pent up energy, and turning it into something else. And I'll explain a little bit later exactly like how I did it in a moment today. But before I got started with this podcast, I got to tell you, I was like walking on the beach and looking around. I had just finished like a long day and I just wanted to decompress. And while thankful that I'm in this beautiful scenery and I get to record this episode in a beautiful space, I was feeling very just exhausted, frustrated, and just like done with like everything and everyone. And so with that, I was just like, what am I doing? What am I looking at? Like, what is my perspective on life? Am I focusing in on the BS that I don't want to be a part of, or am I going to look at the grandeur around me? And that brings me to the alchemy. And so in that alchemy reminder, I was like, oh, wait a minute. Rather than just like spiraling down this rabbit hole and just yelling and I'm going to use this and I'm going to transform it into, I'm going to take my energy and I'm going to transfer it into my podcast, right? You know, I love sharing my own personal awarenesses here and my own stories here to help inspire you to go out and live your life, live your dreams, do the things that you need to do, take the actions that you need to take to create the life that you desire and have the mindset that it is possible, right? So I was really just like, okay, this is a perfect opportunity to alchemize right now. And so I thought about it, and first I just like took a deep breath and I was like, I'm taking this energy and I am utilizing it to create the best podcast ever, because my goal is to have the best podcast in the world. Now, if it never happens, I'm not going to cry about it. It's not a big deal, but I know that I have the capacity to at least be making mad money. Like, my podcast is, and my personality, I am Mama T, and Mama T is meant to be celebrity, okay? Royalty, okay? So I know my capacity, right, is bigger than anything I've ever imagined. So with that, my biggest, I'm just putting a goal out there. I know that 13 million listeners, it would put me in that number one bracket. So let's go for it. Let's believe in it and let's achieve it, right? So I went from there and I was like, you know what? That's where we're putting this energy. We're going to put that energy to this. We're going to transform and we're going to move forward. And as I was thinking about it and putting that energy, of course, a podcast episode comes right here out of my mouth. And I'm thinking about it and I'm just trying to get somewhere where I can sit down to start talking to you. And boom, the frustration, the anger turns into this joy, this glee, this excitement on a drop of a dime, right? And so that's something yay, cool. We are up leveling the frequency, because when we create for ourselves, when we create from the chaos, not only are we inspired, but we're also we're elevating the frequency, right? If you think about if you've ever seen the emotional, what is it called? It's an emotional grid. You can Google it and it'll say all right, so the bottom of the frequency would be despair, but the top of the frequency chart would be gratitude, right? And so if we can get to a place of gratitude, well, how do we do that, right? And sometimes in some spaces I learned that you have to like go through all the stages. No, you don't. I obviously didn't. I didn't really like consciously go from like, oh, I'm just frustrated to I'm mad and to whatever. I went from one place to another, and now I'm like in like an elation mode. I'm into like gratitude mode. I'm like, yes, I am thankful because I get to be me and I get to experience this and I get to create from the chaos going on in my life. And that is a shift in perspective. And that also brings me to like what I'm witnessing, right? I'm witnessing a lot of people in my life going through their own personal chaos, if you will. And different people approach it different ways. And I think it's great that everyone has their own way of processing and understanding, and that's the beauty and being radically self-responsible, and that's the beauty of how I like to talk to my clients and teaching them self-awareness, because we are all different and we all have we bring our own different baggage and experiences with us, so that informs how we process and analyze and understand the world around us. But one thing that is similar across the board is that we get to choose our understanding and we get to choose our perspective. And sometimes it's easier for some than others. I've talked to some people and I'm like, oh, well, like one of my mottos is like, do what makes you happy. Like what would make you happy in this situation? And like, I often get hit back with like, that almost like that's a pipe dream, and like that's a naive statement, like okay, like but it's not always easy to do what makes you happy. And I would argue no. It is quite easy when you know what would make you happy in a moment. We can make a choice, right? Like, and it doesn't have to be some grand burn down, your office building because you're angry at your job and your boss and whatever. But like, taking a moment and being like, what do I need? What would make me happy right now? And would it be going for a walk? Maybe utilizing some like sick leave and getting out of the space, like do what it takes to shift your energy. How can you alchemize in this moment from one state that is discomfort to a state that is comfortable, that is exciting, that is gratitude? And that is something that you're going to have to work out for yourself moment to moment every day, and you get to figure that out. But my job here is to tell you that you can do it, and you have that power, and you've got to take that on for yourself and not put it on somebody else. All right, so it's pretty simple. And as I'm going here, I realized that one thing I did not explain at the beginning, which I normally do, I was just so excited to talk to you, is like, who am I? So if you're new to this podcast, hello, my name is Tiara, aka Mama T. I am a Reiki master teacher. I am an energetic healer, if you will. I am a motivational speaker, motivator, friend, cook. I have a lot of different accolades. I'm great at a lot of things. I have to say, I sing, I dance, I'm great at a lot of things. And it took me a long time to get to a place where I could say something like that without feeling gross about celebrating me. And I think that's kept me from being the best me that I can be, because I don't want my light to be like too bright, or I didn't want my light to be too bright, because that would make other people uncomfortable. And while I might not have made that conscious choice, in that I do know that that's something that I did, and that's a part of coming to self-awareness. And so why I think it's super important that we tap into our own self-awareness is so we can understand why we think the way we think, why we limit ourselves the way we limit ourselves, so we can choose to make an adjustment if we so see fit. A lot of times we work and operate out of fear. And I think it's super funny because fear has come up multiple times today. And yesterday I was at a museum, and a friend wanted to get me a a gift, and the gift was one of those things that like a trinket that has like your name on it. And with a name like Tiara, I never see my name on any of the things. Like I remember growing up and looking for like a keychain that had my name on it, and I would like go through all of the names. Nope, never a Tiara. Look for the toothbrushes, look for the whatevers. And then like I had, a cousin named Aaron, and I had a best friend named Brittany, and they always had all the things super easily with their name on it. I never had my name on it, and it used to make me so mad. But I didn't even think to like look for my name. I was like, what are the other options? And so they did have some like, just like fun sayings like I love you or whatever on it. And one was no fear. And I was like, interesting. I'll take the no fear one. That's a good one to really focus in on, right? Because sometimes I know for myself, I can try to operate from protective mode. Like, what is going to put me out there, but like only so much, and like maybe I won't tell a certain person that I have a podcast, because what if they listen to it and they don't like it, or even worse, they're offended by it? Or what if I don't apply, or there's like a job opportunity or something and I don't apply for it because what if like my manager finds out about it? That's not a good example, because I definitely did do that and I did switch jobs. So but those are like examples of things that are kind of everyday experiences that we all share that could keep us holding ourselves back, even if we aren't conscious that we're like, okay, so like what is going to be the least ruling shaky thing? Like I said earlier, we don't want to have a burn the tower moment all the time, which is totally fine. Like I get it. You don't want to burn the tower. We don't want to burn all the houses down. We don't want to like have a massive upheaval and massive chaos in our life all day, every day, because then where's the space for like enjoying and loving and gratitude and all that good stuff? Like, there's some ups, sometimes there's downs, but we also have to have the ups, right? But also, if we're living our life in this perspective that, things are happening to us and we have to keep ourselves safe and we have to be in a bubble, basically, like we have to be bubble boy and make sure that we're going through life in a very specific way, very like strategic way, so that nothing bad ever happens. Travesty never comes upon us. Well, guess what? Travesty comes upon all of us. Like, things happen. We can't prevent it. It's how we respond to it, right? How do we alchemize it? How do we internalize it? How do we perceive these situations in our life? So what is your perceptive of your life? What is the things that you were going through in your life that you could utilize some adjusting, some support in? And in that, I invite you to check out the home membership if you have not already. And even if you have checked it out, check it out again. And take a look at the community, because in that space, that's where you're going to get the support you need, and understanding self-awareness, choosing for yourself to understand, and choosing for yourself what you want to do with your life and what would actually make you happy, fulfilled, and how to further manifest more of that in your life. And so with that, check out the home membership at www.abubbly.life/luxury living. And in there, you will get a beginning of the month group coaching session, 2 channeling sessions throughout the course of the month, and then at the end of the month, a celebration coaching session where we can celebrate how far you've come, because I think that's super important in the process of creating, is recognizing that we're not the same person moment to moment every single day. Like, we continue to grow and expand, so sometimes we need a little bit of like self-awareness, like a little bit of someone pointing it out, like, hey, remember you said you were going to do this, and like maybe you haven't come all the way to like what it is, but like look how much farther you've gotten from here to now, right? Like, look what you've done. Look at the work you've already done to put towards what you've got, where you're wanting to go. And so that is where the celebration happens, but also an opportunity to recalibrate and understand, okay, like, this is where I was at, this is where I'm at now. what else can shift to get me closer to where I want to go. And then the following month, we're going to start all over and set those intentions, get some channeled messages around those intentions, and celebrate the wins. All right. And so with that, I want to say thank you so much for listening. Remember, sharing is caring. So share this podcast out with 3 people that you know that are into manifestation, into positive mindset and words into mindset and spirituality. And then of course anyone that's into like luxury living lifestyle stuff, because that's what I'm all about, right? Living an extraordinary life, having a positive, happy outlook on life, tapping into my own personal spirituality and defining that for myself, as well as, of course, manifesting every single day. And with that, ta-ta for now. I hope you have a fantastic day. Better yet, a magical day.